still there? To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. To hear more options, press 0.
What are you talking about?
Hey guys, welcome to my podcast, where we have cool conversations with cool people. I'm your host, TJ Dunn, and this week I was watching a YouTube video. I don't really remember who it was that was doing it, but they gave me an interesting thought that I'm going to start living my life by, and that is this. If you have confidence, everything matches. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter if one thing's blue, one thing's yellow, one thing's green. If you have confidence, it matches. And I think it's a tip that all of you guys can use. I don't know. Someone may tell you you're dumb and you look stupid, but if you think you look good up here, that's all that matters. And but anyways, enough about that. This week I'm joined by two of my good friends, Cristian Haynes and Phillip Brown, as we are recording this podcast.
Hey.
And I'll just give them a couple seconds to tell them talk to you guys about themselves. Let them know a little bit about you know what I mean. Yeah.
I am a longtime friend of both of these fools. I love them both dearly. TJ, I've known you probably since you were in sixth grade, seventh grade?
Probably, yeah, sixth grade's probably right. Or maybe even, I think the first time I met you was actually in fifth grade. It was some church event. We were in in the back rooms playing basketball in the Air Force room. It was me, you, and Medi. And I remember you telling me your name, and I was like, "Oh, Phillip, like the screwdriver." Phillip said screwdriver. I remember that.
I always said, yeah, if I was named, or if the Phillips head screwdriver was named after Phillip Head, I wonder who Flathead was.
Yeah.
But I've known you for a while. I currently now live in Minnesota, the land of the snow and ice, and I moved up here to marry my beautiful bride. Her name is Angel. I changed her name from Vogelsang to Angel Brown. And yeah, I just love my life. I love the fact that I get to work at a church. I do youth ministry. I also do some janitorial work. But I do love young people. I love God, and I try my best to serve Him every day, and all that good stuff. And I also am best friends with the other guy.
Yeah. Hey, and my name's Cristian. I met TJ. I'm from Whitehall. I'm from the same town. Pretty much born and raised there, Pine Bluff, Whitehall, same area. Right now, I live in El Dorado, Arkansas.
The city of gold!
Right, yeah. It's actually pronounced El Dorado, but if you move down here, then everyone knows it's El Dorado. And if you say it wrong,
Now, do you think that it was El Dorado, but enough Southern people with their accents called it El Dorado?
I was telling Krista, my wife, which is the reason I moved down here. I was telling her on the drive home today, I was telling her, when they created the town, it was probably called El Dorado, and all them white folk, they're like, well, it's El Dorado. It's kind of stuck. So I'm down here in El Dorado. I met TJ, really met TJ at Youth America. It was my first year when I was in high school, maybe I think right out of high school, being a youth leader at the youth camp. And I hadn't really got a chance to meet any of the students yet that were going to be in my group. And the bus had just stopped, and we had gotten into the dorm room, and we were unpacking our bags. And someone from the staff of Youth America came in, and they were like, is there a Cristian in here? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, do you know a TJ Dunn? And I'm like, yeah, I know TJ. He's in my group. And they're like, well, we need you to come over here. And so we come out, and I see this space cadet, and he's got these glasses with the goggles that wrap around your head.
Yeah,
his
force goggles.
Bleeding.
Oh, beautiful memories.
His eyes are all kind of bruised, and his arms are up, and he's just kind of standing there, and he doesn't know where he is. And just kids being kids at Youth America, as soon as he got the bus, he just took off on a full sprint. And the first thing he did was he clotheslined his face into these pavilion metal bars.
One man clothesline.
Yeah, woke up, didn't know who he was or where he was, didn't remember his name. So we don't remember what TJ stands for, but that's just what he goes by now.
That's funny. Oh man. But yes, this episode it's the one about best friends, and that's why I got Cristian and Phillip on here. They're two of the biggest, I don't I don't know the correct phrase for it, but they've been best friends for a long time, and they've like it's I've seen some of the stuff that they've done together. It's crazy. I was there. I've been a part of like around the areas of some of the stuff, and like the habanero pepper. That was an interesting night.
Oh no,
That was no habanero.
That was
ghost pepper.
Pepper.
Okay, my bad,
Yeah.
my bad. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I kind of want to start us off just by asking you guys, how did you guys meet, and how long did it take y'all to become friends?
That's a really good question.
I feel like Phil can kind of take that one because he initiated it. He started it.
Dark alley, right? Me and Christian, we met at Family Church in Whitehall, Arkansas. I had been going there for a while. I moved from Pennsylvania to Arkansas in like 2009, and I fell in love with this church. My family was going and everything, so I was like every single Wednesday, boom, I was at church. And I was there regular night, and I kind of tried to have some personal responsibility in the youth group. I would try to talk to new people and make them feel welcome and everything. So I see this new guy come in. He looks like my age, if not maybe a little bit older. And he's a skinny guy. He's got this like punk rock kind of haircut, and got a t-shirt on that says Streetlight Manifesto. You still remember that, right, Christian?
Yeah.
Streetlight Manifesto, which was a band that, what I didn't know, one of our mutual friends introduced me to, and Christian was into that band too. So I walk up to him, hey, what's up, man? I like your t-shirt. And he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, how's a punk?
Yeah, so I don't remember if that was the only first interaction that we had, but after that, he started coming to youth group on Wednesdays. He was my age. We were both in like the 10th grade, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
10th grade.
Yeah.
Sophomores in high school, and then he just started coming, and our relationship grew from there. Do you want to take it from there, Christian?
Yeah. So from my perspective, how we met was, again, I'm from Whitehall. Phillip had moved from Pennsylvania, and at around 10th grade, like Phillip already had a relationship with Jesus. He was going to church and like kind of plugged in, and actually the way we met, like I wouldn't really find out till way later, like how in depth our friendship would go. But at the time, I was just going to church because my parents made me, and I like did not want to go to church. Didn't like anybody. I was just angsty, like you said, the emo haircut. Like, you know, I get sunburned, like it'd just be like this, and like the rest of my forehead would be like white, like really long hair. Just a punk. And I remember coming to the church Wednesday night, and I don't remember what was taught on or really anything else that night, but I do remember Phillip coming up and he's like, hey man, I like your t-shirt, because that was a band that when you're that young, and even now, like you want to be cool and you want to listen to the things that no one else knows about. And so it was just this band that was like, I really liked, and no one really knew about it.
That's
and so
thought of it like
when a black dude, he's like, hey man, I like your shirt. And I'm like, what? How do you, what? And so I don't think we clicked then, but that was like the first time I was like, okay, that guy, like he seems pretty cool. And then so there would be like multiple times of me coming back to church on Wednesday, and like every Wednesday after that first one where he like told me that he liked my t-shirt, where like Phillip would make some kind of interaction. And it could be the smallest thing where he's like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, Christian? Like always call me by my name. And at the time it didn't mean much, but like you come back after Wednesday, and then I would catch myself like, I'm not coming to church for the reasons, you know, God and worship and the rest of it. It's like, I'm going to church because there's this cool guy, Phillip, who like knows my name. Like no one else there really cares about me, but like Phillip knows my name. And there's a couple other people, but Phillip was the one who's like every Wednesday without a doubt. And so that was really how like we started to know each other, but I don't think we really started to become friends until like maybe like a conference or a camp or something. That's how we met.
Man, that's awesome. And what a great way to start this episode, just to know kind of how these guys met. And as we move on this episode, everything we got left for you guys is going to be kind of based off that. These guys met, and they've gone through some crazy stuff together. And I know you guys out there listening probably have some best friends that you've gone through some similar stuff with. And this episode's about best friends. And we're going to go to our first official, unofficial sponsor, and then we'll get on with some more questions and other things. And if you don't know what an unofficial, okay, I always get this confused. I always get it messed up. It's our unofficial sponsor, because they're unofficial as in the fact that they're not really our sponsor at all. I don't get any money or anything from this, but they're official in the fact that I like these things. I support them. They're getting free advertisement to my 23 views on YouTube that I had last week. So our first one is Energy, which is an electric company here in Arkansas. Past couple, 2 Sundays ago, there's a massive storm that swept through Arkansas, just a bunch of straight line winds that took out a bunch of power. I know my entire city lost power, and a bunch of other cities around us lost power, like the southern half of Arkansas. It was crazy storm damage. It was so much. But them and some other crews that came from surrounding states that came to help in that week time, got everybody's power back on the shore. It may take a few days, but they worked several nights of I don't know what happened. I saw a bunch of stuff where people were like sleeping in their trucks just so they could get back on. They were working like 16-hour shifts or something like that, just crazy stuff. So I want to shout out those guys. They are awesome people for coming and getting all the powers restored back. Yeah, round of applause. Yeah, Phillip. Round of applause for those guys for Energy. All right. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some more questions.
Talking about.
All right, and we are back. Our next question for you guys is, what are some of the craziest things y'all have done together? I know earlier I mentioned the ghost pepper thing. If y'all want to touch on that first and then go on to some other stuff y'all have done.
Oh, I'll start because it was my idea.
Oh, it was your idea?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Phillip has told me before that I can be real convincing, especially when it's just for just dumb stuff. I can sell something, and I think it was before Rhett and Link did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I could be wrong.
I think it was after they did it, but it was before they did the Carolina Reaper.
Okay, yeah, I think that's where I got the idea.
This was the hottest pepper that you could get.
Right. So Good Mythical Morning, this show that we watched together that we really enjoy, that was like a big thing that we kind of clicked in our friendship. But they do this thing where they just eat a whole bunch of just stupid stuff on the internet. And so if that's where I got the idea. I think I saw him eat the ghost pepper, which at the time was the hottest pepper in the world. And I think it's like 300 times hotter than the jalapeno. And so like exponentially just gets hotter. Mm-hmm. And so we were like 17, 18, something like that. Yep. And my thought process is like, I want to do that just to be able to say I've eaten the hottest pepper in the world. Mm-hmm. So just being kind of curious, I get on the internet, I just start looking around, and I find out that you can actually buy these peppers really cheap. And I think I got a bag of like 15 or 20 of them for like $5.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is
yeah.
That's like a weapon in the wrong person's hand.
It was dangerously inexpensive.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we should not have had access, and it wasn't like I had to ask my parents or anything. Didn't have to sign a waiver. I dropped $5-6, and it came from like the name was like the Persian company, and it was like this garden in Texas, and so they came mailed. And I remember, I think when I had the bag, and maybe even before we purchased them, when I was telling Phil like, hey, we're gonna eat the ghost pepper, we're gonna eat the buchalokia. And at first, like, he wasn't down, and just after a couple of weeks, like, come on, man, we'll do it, we'll record it, it'll be cool, like, we'll be able to say that we did it. And I don't remember how I sold it, but eventually he was on board. We actually ended up getting a few more people on board. But I remember that when being in Philip's bedroom and like with a couple friends and opening the bag for the first time, and like we weren't going to eat them that night. We knew we weren't going to eat them, but we just wanted to get a sense of like what we were doing. And so I remember the smell. It was so strong.
It was the funkiest, spiciest.
Yeah. I'd never smelled anything like that before. And I think like looking back now, I realize like if you were to eat just like a jalapeno, like that bitter, anytime that you eat anything really spicy, it's got like this bitterness to it. It was like that, but times a million. It was just super strong. And so we put the pepper in the back in the bag, and we had held the stem like this with our fingers. And I remember licking my fingers after we had just held the stem, and like immediately you could feel like it just got super hot.
Yeah.
And like, oh no, like what are we doing? So we had a couple weeks to prep. there was like a party at Revolution at our youth group, and it was like I think a Christmas party. And our idea was like, let's do it when there's a lot of people around to watch. Like we just really wanted to make it a big deal. And
it was a big deal. I remember that night. I remember like
yeah,
my friends were like, "Let's go watch Phillip and Cristian eat this goal.
yeah.
It's gonna be insane! Oh my goodness!"
If I could go back in time, like if I had to do it again, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I would not do it. Like it's cool doing it, like saying I did it now, but I would not.
Would you do it again?
No.
No.
You couldn't pay me to do it again.
Really?
Not enough money.
I wouldn't. If I could go back in time, if I could go back in time and I had to relive it, I probably.
So if you had to relive it, like you had to experience it again, I wouldn't.
I would.
What was the experience like?
For nothing. I would never. After doing that, I was like, I will never. The pain was so unreal. I made up my mind. Like I might do this again. I wouldn't do it for nothing. It would have to be for something, because I went through all that pain and there wasn't a grand prize, card, ticket, cash, none of that. At the end, I'm like, I'm wallowing in my pain.
Actually, what's funny is the exact opposite. We thought like, oh, this is going to be so cool. We're going to have this great story. And actually what happened when we got done is everyone there was like, you guys are so stupid. So we basically planned it all up. After the Christmas party was over, and we got set up, and we had been watching YouTube's videos on like how you're supposed to eat it. You know, we didn't want to get hurt, because like there are stories of people who like eat the pepper and like you end up having to go to the doctor. Like
get your stomach pumped, all that stuff.
Yeah, serious. And on the bag, like it even warns like how they weaponize the pepper. Like this is the same pepper that like they use in military grade like pepper spray and stuff like that. Like it's no joke. And so we have like ice cream and popsicles and just like Pepto-Bismol, like everything lined up on this huge bar. And there was 3 of us. It was me, Phillip, and Noah, which is another really good friend of ours. Yeah.
And Jaron. Shout
well,
out
yeah,
Jaron.
but it was the 3 of us who had decided to do it. Like, all right, we're going to eat this pepper. And then while we were there, I mean, I had a bag of 15 of them.
You're
Jaron
right.
Oates, another good friend of ours, was like, hey, I'll go ahead and do it too. Which was really stupid. And so we're set, and I think Phillip had the most reaction, so I'll let him take the story from here of like what happened, and especially from his point of view of like watching me try to back out, because I had convinced him to do it, and I tried to back out, and so I'll let him take it.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that part, because you were like, I don't do this. We were holding peppers, and you're like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I grabbed him by the throat. I said, listen here. No.
I grabbed the bottom jaw and he shoved it down my throat.
No, I was like, we are not backing out. This is your idea. So we're there. We got me, Cristian, Noah, Jaron. Is that all? Was Colton that all there, or was anybody else?
No, that's the only people who ate it.
Didn't Carter eat it?
No, just us 4.
Okay.
So, and it was definitely eating this pepper. The first 1 minute, it's not just like the seconds don't just tick by. It's like a sequence of events. So like we're there, we've got the light shining on us. We're on this concession stand kind of area. Everybody's circled around us, and it's countdown 3, 2, 1. Put the whole pepper all the way up to the stem in your mouth.
I mean, and they're like,
yeah, they're like
that long.
Your thumb-sized pepper.
Yeah.
Whole thing, bite it, and then you chew. If you don't chew this pepper up, it's gonna sit in your stomach all together, and it'll be way worse coming out. So they say chew that thing.
Which interjection, that's what me, Phillip, and Noah knew, because we had been preparing to eat this thing.
And
Jaron did not know that. So his idea was, I'm gonna bite this thing off, and I'm just gonna swallow it as fast as I can.
Oh no!
That's where he messed up. That's when he messed up.
Yeah. Oh man.
So yeah, you're doing this thing, and it is this dark and dreary, funky taste that is just consuming your mouth. It's not hot yet. To me, it just tasted gross. I'm like, I would never want this flavor in anything I'm eating. This is gross. I could tell it was kind of spicy.
I liked it.
But because you're weird like that. So we're chewing it. We're like, okay, you're ready to swallow, I swallow mine, and it wasn't super bad until I swallowed it. And whenever I swallowed it, it felt like razor blades going down my throat.
Yikes.
And then as soon as it went down my throat and I took my first breath out, it felt like pure fire. It felt like my whole mouth and like the bottom half of my head was on fire. And then the heat was like coming out of the top of my head. So much so that if there's a video of this or anything, but
there is a video.
There is? You have it?
You have it? Find it. There's a video though.
Find it, dude. And like so much so, my head was on fire that I've had the sensation at the top of my head that my head was itching. It felt like somebody was taking a thumbtack to the top of my head and was making it itch. And I never had that feeling before that day. But since that day, anytime I do anything kind of spicy, a Tabasco or anything like that, the top of my head itches the same. So that day marked me. And and then from there, that's when the fire started, and it was rough from that point forward.
That was the first response. So I mean, there's a crowd of people from this party who are around and just recording and watching and everything. And the first response is we all eat it, and Phillip screams and he stands up and he's holding the top of his head. And he's like, my head itches. And he's just yelling. Like that's what everyone's like, what is going on? And so right before that, from my perspective, is we're chewing the pepper. Jaron swallows it, and I mean, maybe less than 5 minutes, he's throwing up. Like, and so
right.
Yeah. And I see Phillip, and I look over, and I had already chickened out before we went into it, and he was like, no, man, it was your idea. We're all here. People are waiting. We're going to do it. I'm chewing it. I'm thinking, I'm going to spit it out. I can't do it. I'm too scared. This is going to be miserable. And so I get ready. Like I'm going to spit it out. And I look over, and as I'm thinking it, I see Phillip like swallow and like goes down his throat. I can see him. And in my head, I'm like, it was my idea. And I just watched my best friend swallow that pepper. I can't spit it out now. And so like I closed my eyes and I swallowed it. And the reason they call it the ghost pepper, the way the heat works, so like any other normal pepper, even a habanero, which is really hot, is you eat it and the capsaicin, which is the chemical that creates the heat that you feel. If you look it up online, there's like every pepper has a different peak time, and I don't know what it is, but that just means like how long after you've eaten it to where the pepper is the hottest. And so like the jalapeno might be like 3 minutes, and the habanero might be like 5 to 10 minutes, right? And like it's that like after you eat it, it's going to keep getting hotter for that long. The peak time for the ghost pepper is an hour.
Oh goodness.
And so like it keeps getting hotter for a whole hour.
Goodness.
Yeah. So we're chewing it, and I remember the first instantly it was fear. Like this is way hotter than anything I've ever experienced.
Fear gripped you. Fear gripped your heart. I remember feeling like And
so it's all like ha funny. There's a large crowd, and they're all laughing and joking. Hey, these guys ate a hot pepper, and it's like it's funny for a few moments, and then like it just keeps getting hotter, and it's like it's not funny anymore. I'm scared. And I remember like looking through the crowd at my dad. He was there, and like this look on his face of just like disappointment. And just, like, he would later tell me, he's like, in that moment, I thought you were gonna have to go to the hospital. I thought I was gonna have to take you to the ER. And like,
nobody had a physical reaction, but you had a physical reaction.
My neck. Well, one, I'm super white. And so like you can see like my whole face turns red. I'm like, we're all snotting and crying and everything. But my neck starts to break out. Like there's just like pimples all over my neck, like these hives, and like my lips swell up. And I'm just like, I'm freaking out. And so maybe 2 or 3 minutes into it, we're just like eating ice cream.
Not even 2 or 3 minutes. I'd say 60 seconds in.
Yeah.
Ice cream. And like it's like one of those paper cartons, and it's like kind of
we're just like ripping it and just
spoon right in.
I'm not even eating the ice cream. I've got like this huge spoonful of ice cream on the spoon, and I'm just like with my mouth open and just rubbing it around the back of my throat. And there's a point in the video somewhere, you can find it, we'll need to see. But like I have this huge scoop of ice cream, and it like falls off onto the floor. And like this is like dirty, like hard, like concrete, and where like kids are running around. And I reach down and I pick up this just like blob of melting ice cream in my hand, and you can see my eyes. Like, I'm looking at it, and I'm considering just eating it on the floor. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Throw it down. And so it was just like pure chaos for like 10, 15 minutes of us just.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
And it was probably, it might have been worse that we were taking ice cream, because the cold is good. The lactose inside, the fat inside the ice cream takes away some of the, neutralizes some of the capsaicin. But it was like, the pepper was getting hotter, but ice cream would totally take it away. And then the next heat wave would be hotter. Like, you'd swallow the ice cream, breathe, it would be
hurt.
hotter than the last breath.
Yeah.
Take another hit of ice cream, go down. And then even hotter the next breath. So it was like a roll, like not only just like an incline, but it was like a roller coaster for like 30 minutes, hardcore, nonstop.
That I would never go on again. You could not pay me.
Okay. And like, we all got to go home after that, and we had to enjoy the rest of our night and everything. But y'all went home and experienced round 2. What was round 2 like of that?
All of us had different reactions.
I'll start mine because mine's the most anticlimactic. That was something that I almost expected. I eat really hot foods. I had never eaten anything like that, but I'm used to just like eating really hot foods. And so even if it's hot in my throat and my neck and my ears and my mouth, like my stomach can take it. Like my stomach can take it. And so I remember, like, I think we ate the pepper like around 9 or 8:45, something like that. And I remember laying in bed at like 11 o'clock at night at my home, like on my phone or something, and just like my stomach was warm. Like it felt really, really hot. Like I had just eaten like a bowl of hot soup or something. Like temperature, it felt warm. But other than that, I was fine. And then I went to bed, and like the next day, like went to the bathroom. I was fine. Didn't have any issues. No one else got that lucky.
Me, and we were all in like a group chat texting each other. Our friend Jaron was texting us. Noah was texting us, and me and Christian were all talking to each other. Dude, has it hit you yet? Has it hit you yet? And both Noah, for whatever reason, I refuse to believe that his pepper was as hot as mine, Christian's, or Jaron's, because he just popped in and was like, yeah, I mean, it's hot, but whatever. I'm like,
he had a napkin. He was just like,
I never believe his pepper was hot. But on the backside, he was aching. Like, he said he was on his bathroom floor. Jaron, he threw up like directly after eating the pepper and had a hard hit in the bathroom, boom, afterwards. And for me, I'm hearing this and I'm like, I'm not gonna have this pepper wake me up. I'm like up playing video games, like I'm just like waiting, like waiting to see if it hits. And I think it finally gets like 11, 12 o'clock, and I'm like, I think I'm okay. And I don't know what happened, but whenever I laid on my side, as soon as I laid on my side, it felt like there was a rock in my stomach. And I was like, oh, no, rolling around 5, 10 minutes, sat up. Like, I knew I had to go throw up. And I was like, oh, no, how is this even going to work? Ran to the bathroom, like, got down, got into position, started up chucking. Sorry to get this graphic on this podcast.
You're good.
And then started up chuck. Same spicy feeling came back in my head. But then after that, I felt wonderful. Like, that was the best feeling ever, to throw up, but then feel way better. And then I was like, easy after that.
He's missing a big part of the story too.
What?
So he ran in, and it was like coming out of his nose.
Oh, goodness.
And then so his mom freaks out, and she runs. He's like, Phillip, are you okay? And he turns. He's like, no, like all over his mom. And she's like, no,
you didn't lie.
Oh no, Miss Betty.
Don't be doing me like that on the internet.
That's so funny.
That was definitely the spiciest adventure that we got ourselves into as a best friend duo, for sure.
Have y'all ever seen the show Hot Ones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love watching that show, and when every time I watch it, I think about like y'all eating those peppers and just people eating spicy stuff all the time. I think it'd be fun to try because it's sauces, so it's a little bit different, not eating the whole pepper. But I still feel like it'd be really, really spicy. I just don't know if it'd be the same aftermath reaction like what y'all had. I don't think you have the same thing. You just have a sauce as opposed to the whole pepper.
I'm not convinced that those hot sauces are really hot.
You're not?
That's just my personal theory. So maybe like the first couple, right? Because like you can see the people's reaction. But by the time they put that last dab on there, which is supposed to be like so many millions on the Scoville unit, which is how
It's
you.
supposed to be like 2 million, Scoville like 400.
Yeah, they're just like,
Or-
okay, yeah, that's cool. We're done. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Well, I think by that point, like their tongues are just fried. You know, like there's numb. They can't taste anything by that point.
That's probably it too. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's a good show. What's another crazy thing you guys have done together?
I'll tell you one thing that we did, and we documented it too, or at least I did my best job at it. Me and Christian always said that we would get matching tattoos. You know, that's a best friend. That's a best friend thing to do. What?
Phillip always said we would get matching tattoos.
That's a very best friend thing to do. So that's something that I always said, I guess. And then Christian, I got married a few months before Christian, and then Christian got married. He was the best man for my wedding. I went down. I was the best man for his wedding. And I was like, what can we do? What can we do? He hooked it up for my bachelor party. It was really dope. We get into that later. So so Christian hooked it up for my bachelor party. So I'm like, man, what can I do for his? So we went ziplining. We did some other things, but I finally was able to complete the task of convincing him to get our wives' names tattooed on our bodies. The girl who I was already married to, and the girl that he was going to marry the day or two or so, right?
2 days after.
2 days after this. So he was getting his fiance's name, not even his wife's name, tattooed on him at that point in time. And not only did we get it tattooed on our body, where did we get it tattooed, Christian?
On our butt cheeks.
On our butt cheeks.
Man.
With photo evidence. So we have matching tattoos on our booty cheeks, on our sweet meat, and I documented it all on my.
Oh man.
I will say his is a little more eccentric. Mine was like, well, go ahead and tell the story of what happened.
Of our
how the tattoo started and like what happened.
Well, we will go in there and we're going and we're talking. Well, he doesn't know because we've got some other things. We actually went to a hot wing place and other things. We're like, yeah, we got one more stop to do. So we just show up in Hot Springs, walking around, and we're like, oh, this is actually where we need to go, right in here. Tattoo shop. You're getting a tattoo of your future wife's name. So I just dropped her, boom, right on him, right there.
Oh, man.
On your butt. Yeah.
So,
what do you say, TJ? Go ahead.
oh, you're good. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say that the guys going in, whenever we got this tattoo, they gave us the hardest time.
Yeah.
Oh, a girl's name tattooed on you, man. I got my wife's tattooed on me right here. And then we divorced. And then I turned her into a zombie bride and pulls her up. And he's got like this zombie of his ex-wife.
Oh, my goodness.
And they're like, dude, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it, man. You're not even married to it. Like, it was like 45 minutes of them riding us the whole time.
Oh, my goodness.
Which, I mean, really, for like a tattoo place, that's probably what you want.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably want them to give you a hard time. And so I had, for the most part, had been against it. And like they told me, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings, not a sponsor, maybe a sponsor. And they're like, well, there's that, I kind of thought the day was over. And I was like, hey, we went ziplining and we went and had some hot wings. I think we had ice cream too. Maybe that was after.
That was afterwards.
But like in my mind, there was no comparison to like what we did with Phillip or anything. It was just like, I'm just glad that I got to see my friends and just hang out and like that's cool. And I didn't really personally, I didn't think I really wanted to do anything wild anyways. Cause like earlier in the day, they had me like keep my eyes closed, couldn't find where we were going. And then Phillip was like, we're going skydiving. And I freaked out. Like I was so scared. I was like, I'm not getting on a plane. And so they were like, no, we're just kidding. And so we go, like we're walking down the main street on Hot Springs, and I'm not even really like aware of where we're at. I'm not even realizing we're at the tattoo parlor. And Phillip turns around and like I realize we're stopping here, and he's like, we're getting our wives' names. He grabs me by the shoulders. We're getting our wives' names tattooed on our butts. And like, I'm thinking because earlier today that he's just mess with me again. And he's like, no, like, we're really, and so like, they just leave me in, they just go inside, leave me out there on the street. And so I'm just like out there, like waiting for them to come out, thinking they're messing with me, you know, and like, maybe like 3 or 4 minutes go by, and I'm like, just kind of out there by myself, processing, like,
realizing what's about to go down.
Yeah, is this a joke? Is he messing with me? Or like, if this is going to happen, like, am I really going to do this? And my thought process was the whole time, because like it's permanent, and what if something happens between me and Krista, and you know, and now I've got this girl's name and all this stuff. That thought actually never came into my mind. I never thought, like, what if something happens? What if me and Krista get a divorce or what? I never thought that. And when I realized that I wasn't worried about the longevity of the relationship, you know, if something happens, as soon as I realized, like, I'm not worried about that, like, that's solid. Then I was like, all right, let's do it. So we go in, and Phillip tells a story where they're all, you know, they're giving us a hard time, and like, he's got his GoPro, he's filming for his vlog, and they're like, no, you can't do that, and so they gave me a little decency when we were getting done, and then like they draped like this little sheet over me and covered me up and gave me the tattoo. And Phillip, they just like grabbed his hands.
Oh man, it's so funny.
So we're laying there next to each other, and I'm like, just get it like as small and just like simple as possible. I don't want some calligraphy. And Phillip's, I think it's the same font.
It is both the same font, but my wife's name is Angel. So how do you get the word angel tattooed on your butt without getting nice little angel wings on it? So I was like, I'll slap them on there.
Oh, man. That's so funny.
Yeah, so we got that done. And then the funny part was that I did think, like, what is Krista going to say? Like, what is she going to think?
I thought that too, because I didn't tell her either.
Krista didn't know.
Tell her either.
Phillip's wife knew she was getting the tattoo. My wife did not know. They were together, so like we're doing our guy thing, and like all the girls are hanging out. And at some point, Angel tells Krista that like they're gonna get a tattoo. I thought that she had told her like everything. So Krista texts me before I get the tattoo. And all it says is, make it a mountain for me. And what she meant was she had just gotten a tattoo of like a mountain range and everything. And it's like, she really likes mountains. And so I was like, okay, like she knows I'm getting a tattoo. I even thought like she was just being funny, and she knew I was getting a tattoo of her name. I was like, it's going to be fine. And after we're done, I get another text. And it's too, I mean, at this point, it's too late. And like in all caps, it's like, you did what? She thought I was just getting a tattoo. That's all the Angel told her. She didn't tell her I was getting a tattoo of her name, and she didn't tell her where I was getting it at.
That's so funny.
And so, like, the whole time on our honeymoon and everything, and like even like she's just like, I don't even want to look at you. Like, I can't believe that.
Oh man, that's so funny. So question. So when you get a tattoo on your butt, one, does it hurt getting it? And two, does it hurt when you sit down, like right afterwards?
Kind of feels good.
Yeah?
No.
Oh man.
I never experienced any pain sitting down. Just because, I mean, I'm sure if I were like sit somewhere just like kind of like grind around and stuff, that would hurt. But like the tattoo is like, it's just surface level. So as long as you're not like rubbing on it or something, I agree. It's fine.
Okay. So my next question for you guys. So obviously, Phillip, you're in Minnesota. Cristian, you're in El Dorado, Arkansas. How do you guys how y'all kept y'all's friendship like together, being so far like apart from each other?
Well, the cool thing about our friendship is that we are apart right now, but even before this season of being like adults and being married and being in different states, we actually had different times of being apart from each other. Whenever we just graduated high school, man, we could talk about so much stuff. We could talk about my bachelor party. We drove a tank together. We worked in a Tyson chicken plant for
So you drove a tank together?
That was what we did for my bachelor party. So I was literally.
That's so awesome.
Drove a real life, like, I don't know how many ton tank. here in Minnesota before I got married. So we did all those things, but shortly after graduating high school, Cristian went to an internship in Kansas City with International House of Prayer. And that was a time when we were away. And me, it was actually kind of hard. He was off, like, discovering things about himself and deepening his relationship with the Lord, which was cool. But through a lot of mistakes I made without having my best friend around, I learned a lot about myself in that season. But we were apart, and we were still, he wrote me a letter and stuff while we were away, and we called and talked, and me knowing he was praying for me and I was praying for him, just kind of like we maintained our relationship with that. Me going to his graduation was super fun, meeting all his friends. I had never met any of these people, and I show up in Kansas City, never been to Kansas City before in my life. TJ, imagine going to a city that you've never been to before, you never met any of these people, and you get off of the bus and everybody's greeting you with your name and telling you all these stories about yourself. That's what it was like. Whenever I got to Kansas City, because everybody knew my name, everybody thought I was white from all the stories that
oh man.
And the music that we liked together. But yeah, so that was cool. And then we were around each other, doing internships, doing church stuff, life. And then I went to Dallas, Texas, actually for a few years to go to Bible school. And we still kind of maintained our friendship through that. He came and visited me one time for my birthday. And yeah, so to answer your question, how we maintain our friendship, I would say with me and Cristian, it's more of like a knowing, like knowing that we are friends, and we're pretty, I imagine that both of us have the same level of security in our friendship, because we don't talk all the time, but when we do talk, it is exactly how it was. Like
mostly how we talk now is just sending like stupid memes to each other. Like, that's really all it is now. And I think a big thing is like we've shown, even when we're apart, even on like just like the face level, it's like we're willing to, like, I'm willing to drive all the way to Minnesota, or he's willing to come up to Kansas City where I'm at. Like, it's like, even if you're over there and we're far away, like, I can come and see you. Like, it's not too much to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And if you guys have been listening to the podcast for a while now, or heard some of the first episodes, me and my friend Nate did an episode called The One About Nerf Assassin and Into the Night. And the whole premise of the episode, Nerf Assassin, we got the idea from these two, from Phillip and Chris. And I'd love for you guys to talk about that for a few seconds. I know I talked about it for a little bit, but how did you guys get the idea to start? That's what I've always wondered. How did you get the idea to start Nerf Assassin?
How did we get the idea to start that one, Cristian?
I think that I had seen something online about a game like it. And I know even before Nerf Assassin, it was like Nerf War. And like Pastor Ken would do it, like where he would have a whole bunch of people over, like the students and stuff. And like everyone would bring like these Nerf guns, and almost like paintball or airsoft, just like in this big open area, but just like firing off. And we came up with this. It was like a real rough when it started. And like, as we played, and we just realized like, this rule doesn't work because this is going to happen. And so I think how we came up with it is like, it kind of evolves into what it was. But at first it was really just like, hey, you're going to get someone's name and you have to kill them. And like, you can go anywhere. And that was really all we had at first. And I was like, this would be fun. And then as we played, we realized like, well, if I kill somebody who has my name, then I'm out of the game. And it sucks to get killed, and then you can't play for like 2 or 3 weeks. And so they created time limits and just different things to keep it in check. And kind of evolved over time.
And and I learned to never trust this man.
I will say, and I mean this honestly, like there have been like high school drama, there's been girls, there's been all kinds of dumb stuff that like might become in between two friends. Nothing has come between us more than Nerf Assassin.
No one's a friend in that game. Everyone is against each other. Like you don't make friendships in Nerf Assassin. You end friendships with Nerf Assassin.
Yeah, I don't think I've
stress disorder from that game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been as more angry with Phillip as I have been when we were playing the game. It's like, it's rough.
I know the pain. Like, I know at least for me, for like just a quick story, we were in the middle of a round. We played this for probably from August to December, and then we all realized how mad we were getting each other and just stopped from doing that. Stopped at that point. We were like, yeah, this is not worth it at this point. We may pick it up in the future, but we were playing, and I was up at the church one day. I was going. I knew Nate was there. I went into the prayer room where he was at, and I was saying hey to him, whatever. And I had a feeling the guy who was after me was there. I was like, "Is Michael here? Is he here?" He goes, "No, bro, no, he's not here. He's good." Like, I heard someone always that he's out there. There's like him and my brother, Nate, and my brother, in the prayer room. Like, he's out there right now, isn't he? I pull out my Nerf gun, my backpack, and I'm ready. And he goes, "No, he's not here, bro. I promise you, I would not lie to you. Did you see his car out here?" I was like, "No, that doesn't mean he didn't get someone else's car and have them drive him up here." So I was like, at this point, they convinced me. Like a 10-minute argument between me and Nate, who was supposed to be my best friend in that moment, and so we argued about that. I was like, whatever. I'm not even gonna worry about this. So I walked over to the war room because I had to get something that I had left over there. And the entire time I'm checking corners, I'm going James Bond, just full on Secret Service, going on every corner, picking my gun around everywhere, like keeping my eyes surrounded, walking as quietly as I can. And I walk in the war room. I walk in there, I'm like, okay, we're good, we're safe here. I walk in there, and the door was already open, but I knew it was open already because it usually is open. Lights were on because we had been in there earlier. I walk in there, and as I see the thing I was going to grab, I go to grab it. It's still a little slightly suspicious, not fully. I walk in, I go to get it, and then all of a sudden I hear a rustle. I turn behind me, and Michael's sitting there behind the door in the crack in between it and the couch, waiting for him. He shoots, he misses, I shoot. My bullet had somehow gotten jammed. I couldn't shoot. He shoots me twice right there, and I die. And I was so mad at Nate and my brother. Like, I trusted you guys. You told me he wasn't. But yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. So much stuff happens in that game.
Man, we have stories on stories on
Yeah.
stories.
We can I'll share at least one that involves both me and Phillip. That it was probably the dirtiest that I have ever been in that game. And then I got played right around, but we would do kind of how you guys do the internship now. And we would go, I think it was it Churchill's or what was it before?
It was Churchill's, yeah.
Yeah. And me, Phillip, and Pastor Stephen, I think once every week or every 2 weeks or something, we would get together and we'd go have lunch or something, and we'd have just like a little internship meeting and talk about like a books that he had us reading, just some homework and stuff. And just like when you guys played the game, a big rule was like there are certain times where like it's just off the limits because it interferes. And so like you don't want to play during church services, right? Because then you're not paying attention to service and you're not worshiping. You're worried about getting shot with a Nerf gun. And so we did things like that. And so we had kind of agreed like, hey, we're going to come to this meeting, and like during the meeting, like Nerf Assassin, like it's off limits. Like, no, there's no guns, no nothing. And
Pastor Stephen has signed up to play this round too.
Pastor Stephen was in on it too. Yeah, that's a key point of the story. So I did pretty dirty. Like we would carry around backpacks all the time with like all of our Bible stuff and everything. And so we sit down and we're doing the whole meeting, and like as the meeting's over and like as Phil's like bending down.
This is the thing. I'm gonna say we get to the place. We all pull up kind of actually at the same time. We all know we're playing, and we're like looking around, and you have your gun or something. I see a gun, and I'm like, I have my gun ready. Like, what? You guys have me? Do you guys have me? No, I don't have you. I don't have you. And as me and Cristian are talking, Pastor Stephen's like, whatever, and just like goes inside.
Yeah.
Cristian's like, no, I'm not gonna bring my gun inside. Don't worry. I won't bring my gun inside. I was like, okay, cool. My gun in my car. Now you go ahead. And
Phillip puts his gun in his car, and I just slide it into my backpack with my Bible and everything else. And so as the meeting's wrapping up, Phillip, he's like bent over, and he's like putting his books in his bag and stuff. And as he comes up over the table, I'm just sitting there with my gun like pointed at him. And, like he can't go anywhere. There's nothing he can do. I know he doesn't have his gun. And I was like, sorry, man, sorry. And I shot him right between the eyes.
Like it's a movie.
No.
So Phillip's like, he's kind of in shock, almost like, this did not just happen, and I just played him dirty. And so, like, as we're still kind of reeling over this, we forget. Maybe we don't forget that Pastor Steven's playing, but we just don't take him as a serious threat.
He said, "No, I don't have you guys. No."
Yeah, and so he looks like he's not very interested, and he's like, I don't even have a gun yet. I need to go and borrow one of my kids, or maybe go buy one. And so he's like, how does it even work? And so I'm kind of showing him, because we all had different guns and we thought it was cool. And some of us were modding them, and I'm showing him, like, this is how you load it, and you put the bullet in here, and this is where and all this stuff. And I hand him the gun, and he's kind of messing around with it, and like I'm showing him as he's holding my gun. Oh, this is how you load it, and this is, and he shoots me, and I don't even realize it. Like, I get hit, and I'm like, yeah, that's how you do it. And Phillip's just like, just in shock, like, and he realizes, and I kind of I see Phillip's face, and that's when it starts to click. Like, wait a minute, and I look up, and Steven has the slyest look on his face. I had just gotten killed with my own gun. So I had to give my, whoever Phillip's target was that I had just got, I was like, okay, there you go. So that was probably the slickest thing that had happened.
Yeah.
In our time of playing Nerf Assassins.
There were more people. There were people who got more kills than Pastor Steven, but there was no one who got more kills without ever purchasing a Nerf gun, owning a Nerf gun than Pastor Steven. He got multiple people out in this game in the couple of rounds that he played without ever buying or having a Nerf gun to his name.
But I will, as hard as I played, I will give it up to Phillip Brown. He won the most games.
You better believe it. In that moment, that my heart was broken. Like, the Grinch heart grew 10 times that day. My heart was crushed in that moment.
That's so funny.
And I said, I will never another man as long as I live. It was 7 o'clock. I was going to my classes at community college. I would open the door, look around, and I would run to my car, and I was just on high level alert. I would lock my doors, check them 3-4 times a day. Mom, Dad, if you see Cristian, let him know. Let me know. So I see him coming, and that was a whole other story. So yeah, from that moment, I was on high alert, and I won some games because of it.
There's some great stories that come from that game. We could probably do a whole another episode based off that, but just to keep it rolling. We're going to get to our second unofficial sponsor, and it's The Send. And Phillip, I'll let you take this one.
The Send in Kansas City is a wonderful event that you, viewer, listener, need to go to. It is at the Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. It is going to be held on October.
Yeah, they don't have an official date yet because they're waiting for the NFL schedule so that they can get it a weekend. The Chiefs aren't going to be there.
That makes sense. Well, let me just go ahead and read what they have on their website. Only 17% of churchgoers know what the Great Commission is and what it means. If every believer just led one person to Jesus, this year 1/3 of America would come to know Jesus. We've seen an opportunity for a whole generation of believers to arise who will have no disconnect between their belief and their action. We, instead of settling, will be activated into their evangelistic and missional calling. This is the war on in action, and we are just getting started. This is going to be an event that I'm going to go to. This is going to be an event that TJ himself are going to go to. He's going to be signing merch at this event.
What? Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'll do it.
He'll sign binders. He'll sign foreheads. He'll sign all kinds of stuff. If you
I'll sign babies.
Sign babies. But no, this is going to be an awesome event. I've been to some of Lou Engel's events before in the past, and they've changed my life, impacted my life greatly. And since this event seems to be another domino in what the Lord is doing, I want to be there. And I don't know if you're going to be there, Cristian, but I'd advise you and all the rest of the viewers to come as well. It's going to be on October in Kansas City.
Completely free, by the way. Now, you have to pay for your gas and hotel if you want to stay the night or whatever, but the event itself is free. It's going to be a good time. And when we come back, we're going to have a little game to see how well these two exactly know each other. Y'all stay tuned for that, and we will be right back momentarily.
Talking about.
So, due to this podcast being so packed full of so many great things and so many awesome moments, we had to split into 2 different parts. So we just want to thank you, one, for watching part 1. We appreciate you guys. Y'all are awesome. And make sure you stay tuned for part 2, coming out very soon.
Coming back.
Yes. If not out already, it is coming out very soon. So make sure you guys stay tuned and listen to that. Until part 2. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The One About. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review. 5 stars preferably, but whatever you feel like we deserved, leave us a review. That would be greatly appreciated. Every single one of you is awesome. Make sure you share this podcast around town to anyone and everyone. If it made your day 1% better, maybe it'll make someone else's day 1% better. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at The One About Podcast. Send us a DM. We want to hear from you. Thank you guys again for all you do. Y'all are so, so awesome. Bye, guys. Oh, and gals. I don't know who's listening, so yeah, bye, guys and gals.